All right, lead heads. Welcome back to the Talking Lead Podcast. This is episode 316. Gave you guys a week off, so I hope you took advantage of that and went back and listened to some past episodes, got caught up, get involved with some of our remaining giveaways that we're doing for our 300th episode giveaway celebration. We've got that suppressor still coming up. We've got another Glock $75 gift code that we're going to be giving away. And then, of course, we've got some X-Steel target gongs. And the big one, Kel-Tec Weapons, has put up a CP33 22 long pistol that'll hold 33 rounds of 22 long. That's right. We still haven't announced how you can take part in that, or the gongs, or that last Glock $75 gift code, but those are coming up. So just know that those are still up for grabs. And we're going to be giving you details on how to participate and win awesome stuff from Talking Lead, our sponsors, and friends of the show. So like I said, I took a week off. I've been traveling. You guys that follow me on social media know that we were in Maryland. We were at the 25th Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association. We were at it's biennial. They have it once every 2 years. National conference, and we went to that 2 years ago when it was in St. Louis, and they invited us back for the one this year, and it was a really good time. We've got some great interviews from that, and we're going to kick those off here in just a little bit, but we want to make sure that you guys go and support those that make this show possible. Our sponsors of the show, Modern Spartan Systems, for all your gun cleaning and lubrication needs. Check out Modern Spartan Systems at modernspartansystems.com. We've given away 2 of their starter kits that had their copper and carbon destroyers, their accuracy oil, the grease, and we gave away a big bottle of the TVT engine oil additive also with that. So we gave those away, but you guys can still go to Modern Spartan Systems and use that discount code TLCP15, and you're going to get 15% off your order, and they're going to donate an additional 15% of that purchase is going to go to Camp Patriot. Thus the code TL for Talking Lead, CP for Camp Patriot, and then the 15% discount. So go there, use that code, get yourself some of that TVT engine oil additive. You're going to be glad you did. Your vehicles and anything with an engine is going to be glad that you did. And then, of course, all their other line of awesome products with the accuracy oil and the gun cleaning products there. ModernSpartanSystems.com. Kel-Tec Weapons. Go to KelTecWeapons.com. They just released a new pistol. There's another 22 long that they released, adding to their 22 family of pistols. It's the P17. It's a 22 long rifle compact. So if you're in the market for a 17-round compact 22 LR pistol with more bells and whistles than a Christmas Day parade, then the P17 is definitely for you. Oh, and get this. It's got an MSRP of $199. So that's MSRP, so you know you go to your local gun store and it's going to be less than that. Of course, these Kel-Tecs, they're hot items and they sell quick, so you got to get there before they sell out. Pretty cool stuff. Add that to their CP33, their PMR30, their PLR22 that they've got. They've got a really nice line of affordable firearms that you can go out, plink with, have a good time, and not bust the bank with these guns. The CP33, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be giving one of those away. So stay tuned. We're going to give you details on what you got to do to have a chance at that. So we got some awesome interviews that I want to get into. We did several interviews, like I said, and I'm going to break this show up into a part 1 and a part 2. So we're going to get a few of the interviews in this episode, and then I'm going to break it up, and then episode 317 we'll continue those. But we've got, and you want to listen because we've got some discount codes for you set up with some of these companies that we interviewed. They were gracious enough to, and without me even asking, set up discount codes for you lead heads. So make sure you go and take advantage of those. and let them know how much you appreciate not only their support of this podcast, but also for the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, helping our federal LE men and women out there day in and day out. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kick these interviews off, starting with our good buddy Bill Hampstead and Don Mahalik. Sit back, relax, get your favorite beverage, put that in your Leady, your talking Leady. If you haven't got your talking Leady yet, hit Danny up over at Dipstick Hydrographics, and he'll hook you up with an awesome talking lead Leady. Better than a Yeti, the talking Leady. So sit back, relax, fix yourself a drink, enjoy the show. I asked me, he sees my shirt, he goes, talking lead. He goes, what's talking lead? So I'm telling him what talking lead is, and he goes, you want to see some lead? Follow me. So he proceeds to walk me down the stairs, and there's this big, long, I guess it's a piece of art, probably weighs a couple 1,000 pounds. I don't know. All lead. He made it from lead and copper and all kinds of different stuff like that.
Wow.
He's an artist, and he uses lead as his material.
Safe substance to use.
Right, exactly. As he's telling me, all these studies that have shown that, some of the brain deformities and things like that happen in children come from the lead paint from houses, that they used to use back in the day. I was like, so do you use special precautions when working with the lead? He goes, yeah. I wear those masks that they say don't use with lead. So then he takes me to this other piece of artwork he's got. It's called The Dead Lead Squirrel.
I saw that one.
You see that?
I saw it in the book.
So I got my pictures made with that. Me and him. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on. All right, lead heads, welcome back to another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. We are on location, and this is the 25th Biennial Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, also known as FLEOA, as our listeners affectionately know them.
Correct.
Through our good buddy Bill Hampstead. And joining me today is Bill Hampstead to kick off this 25th National Conference of FLEOA.
Yes. Thank you for being here again, Marty. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, absolutely,
we appreciate
brother.
it. Got a lot of good interviews that I'm looking forward to.
Oh, yeah. We got Geisley, Mission First, Medicine in Bad Places, Point Blank, First Tactical.
All kinds of cool vendors, but then we're also going to have some of you guys, some FLEOA members on. We're going to be interviewing them and getting some backgrounds and information about them. And speaking of, you've brought
a
guest with you today. So
why
don't you just go ahead and introduce Don
I'd
for
like
the
to
lead heads.
introduce Don Mahalik, our executive director, just recently appointed or hired, however you want to say it.
Oh, are you hired or are you appointed?
I don't know. It all depends on
Do you
what's in
get
Bill's
paid?
head.
Yeah.
We do get paid, so I guess it's a hired position finally.
Okay, all right. Well, there's a positive liner of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So welcome, Don.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and thanks for being here at the FLEOA conference.
Well, I appreciate you guys having us. It was a great time 2 years ago in St. Louis. It was an awesome time. Had good interviews there. And I want Ira on, too. Is Ira here? We got to get Ira. You remember Ira?
Al Felberg?
Al. That's who it was. Al. This is Ira. Al Felberg.
Yes. No, he
the
did not
IRS
make it.
guy.
Yes, the IRS guy. He did not make it this year.
Damn it. He had some great stories. But we're going to get some other great stories.
I think Don's all prepped for that, so yeah.
You got some good stories for us, Don?
I can try. I don't know if I could beat the IRS stories, though.
So give our lead heads a little about you, a little background about Don.
So I've been a FLEOA member for 20 years. I worked for the U.S. Park Police. I was on a SWAT team, worked in Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and California, and then I got hired by the Secret Service and spent 20 years with the Secret Service in New York and Washington, D.C. on a president's detail. While in New York, I was there for the 9/11 attacks, and I had the honor of being in Washington, D.C. for the transition from President Bush to President Obama. So prior to that, I spent 10 years in the Coast Guard Reserve. So
awesome, man. You've done a lot. You've got a very diverse background there.
It's kept me out of trouble.
Or has it got you into trouble?
A little of both sometimes.
A little bit
Depends
of both
what's going
sometimes.
on.
So this is the 18th anniversary of 9/11. As we're doing the conference here. Hit closer to home, obviously, to some than others. Talk about your experience with that.
So the funny thing about 9/11, every time it comes around each year, it's really a poignant holiday for the law enforcement community because it really was a day of unbelievable sacrifice, selflessness, and courage. And that type of actions by law enforcement officers tends to get lost these days by a lot of the media spin and some of the nonsense people talk about and some of the people that just don't like cops. They forget the images of the officers running into the towers, carrying people out. They forget the images of the officers running into the Pentagon, pulling people out. They forget what the fire departments do.
The first responders, fire department,
And I remember distinctly afterwards that you couldn't go anywhere in New York City where there wasn't flags and there wasn't people applauding the police officers and the firefighters that were going in and out of Ground Zero.
Nationwide.
There was nowhere you could go. And, Ground Zero, and the aftermath was literally, it was hell on earth because of the fires were still burning, the smoke, the clouds, everything. And it was just a tremendous, beautiful thing to watch the community just embrace, support, and protect the first responders and the others that were working down there. I mean, you could go to Ground Zero naked almost, and you could end up getting clothed, fed, massages, dentists.
Right.
I mean, it was just incredible. And it's a shame today that you still don't see that, and a lot of people don't remember that.
Right.
Yeah. That's there's been a lot. I mean, time passes, and then people forget, and that's very unfortunate. I was talking with Tony earlier from Medicine in Bad Places. He just went over to France, I guess. They do a D-Day annual celebration there or something like that, and he said that the people there are still so thankful and remember, America's help. And I mean, it's like it, was yesterday that it happened.
Well, what the beautiful thing about France is with the cemeteries all up and down the French coast in Normandy and around France, the French people take care of those cemeteries and they consider them sacred ground. And, there's towns in France where the airborne divisions have landed in where there's still monuments to those airborne troopers that landed and liberated those those cities and towns. And, although it's not as spread out as what happened in France, because, we invaded all up and down the Normandy coast to free Europe, 9/11, Ground Zero, the Trade Center site is a tremendously large memorial and museum now. The Pentagon itself has done a very good job of highlighting the side of the Pentagon that was struck by the plane, and there's memorials all over the Pentagon in tribute to that. And Shanksville, too, they have a beautiful memorial out there. And, you can't go to a town anywhere in the tri-state area, even outside the tri-state area, and not find a 9/11 memorial. I mean, even in Disney, they remember 9/11. So, the problem I see is that as we get further and further away and the pivotal holidays, the 5th, the 10th, the 15th, the 20th years, are not around, there's just less attention to it. And although like this past Wednesday, there was coverage in the morning covering the ceremonies, the moments of silence and everything else, there's just not that sense of history that a lot of the people carry with them.
Right.
And that history gets quickly lost by busy lives and other events going on and politics and all this craziness. They call it Patriots Day for a reason.
Absolutely.
On September 11th. And it really should be a day where everybody pauses and thinks about how fortunate they are to be in this country and how fortunate they are to have men and women willing to raise their hand to go serve, whether it's in the military or public safety positions, and protect other people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So. Couldn't agree more.
So we're doing our part. We like to do our part in keeping the remembrance going and supporting our law enforcement, first responders, fire department, military men and women, and FLEOA does that as well. So talk about maybe some of the new goals and missions that you guys are working out here at this national conference.
Well, at least for Don and I, we'll be revamping the sponsorship stuff and working with vendors. Have a great plan to really blast out stuff on social media with those guys, and really look forward to working with Don on that stuff. But as far as our legislative and other goals, Don can speak much more about that.
I mean, FLEOA is a 27,000 member strong organization. As I've been telling people, it's an international organization because the FLEOA membership spans the globe. I mean, there's not a corner of the globe these days where you don't see a federal law enforcement officer, especially our DSS agents who are on the front lines in all the embassies and consulates all over the country. That's a potential or is a FLEOA member that's at that embassy or consulate. And our mission in FLEOA is to protect and defend the job of federal law enforcement and support and protect the agencies involved and those brave men and women who are on the front lines, their authorities, their benefits, their pay. That is what FLEOA is driven by, and of course to protect them in a legal situation by our tremendous legal services that really goes above and beyond to make sure that when somebody's in trouble or in a crosshairs, that they're protected. We in FLEOA are very fortunate because our voice over the last several years has been amplified because of the work that people have done developing relationships not only in administrations but on Capitol Hill.
Right.
You know, there's not a place you go to in the federal government where FLEOA's voice hasn't been heard, isn't listened to. I mean, as we sit here, I'm getting emails from different congressional offices and Senate offices. I got an email from the DOJ inviting us to attend different events, inviting us to give input. And it's really a wonderful testament to the founders of FLEOA, and it's a testament to the hard work people have done up to this point to really build the organization into what it is, the premier federal law enforcement association in the world. So, and Bill and I and the others, we're really looking forward to pushing that message and pushing that agenda. We're in as I was telling the members at the convention, we have whether it's California where they've attacked use of force and they've passed a bill in California to restrict law enforcement use of force to make it almost to the point of the individual's got to have his finger on a trigger pointed at you,
right?
Before you could actually protect yourself. Or now we see in Congress, we have opportunistic members of Congress who introduce a piece of legislation aptly titled the Peace Act, which would potentially do the same thing to federal law enforcement and restrict federal law enforcement officers' use of force guidelines, which, FLEOA has been on record about totally contravenes the purpose of Graham versus Connor, which is a critical Supreme Court case that use of force is based on, which is officers' view, totality of circumstances. Nobody's supposed to have 20/20 hindsight. And the officer is essentially supposed to be given the benefit of the doubt in those very dynamic split-second decisions. Right. So these are the kind of issues that FLEOA confronts on a daily basis, and FLEOA works to protect and defend the law enforcement officers. And, as we get into this hot political season with the presidential campaign and elections and whatnot, we're sure to see more of that kind of stuff, posturing and whatnot. Yeah. And, we want our members to know and the federal law enforcement community to know that we're here. We're willing to take a stand. We fight. And if you're not a member, you go to FLEOA.org, join because your numbers help us fight.
Yeah. Right. It was very reassuring. You guys had a very good guest speaker to kick off your 25th National Convention. And his words, and I'm going to let you guys talk about that, who it was, were very encouraging from somebody of his level, in government, that he's got y'all's back.
Right. Well, I thought it was.
And that was the guest.
Acting Secretary Kevin McNiernan for Homeland Security. What we really appreciate about the Acting Secretary, and we've tried to broadcast this, is in the short history of the Department of Homeland Security, he is the first individual to hold that position that ever wore a uniform, a gun, and a badge and did the job. Every other secretary.
I think we laugh, but I mean, that's like
it's
ridiculous.
True.
Laugh.
It
is silly.
Every other secretary was either a politician. We had governors. We had a judge. We had General Kelly, who was a 4-star general. Yeah. We've never had a Secretary of Homeland Security that actually wore a uniform, wore a gun and a badge, and actually did the job. So the acting secretary actually did that. And what's nice is he quickly understands what the law enforcement community needs, what we're talking about, and like he did at our conference where he announced his reinforced support and denounced all the attacks on ICE, and the Border Patrol folks and some of this nonsense that's going on across the country, targeting law enforcement officers. The acting secretary really is a staunch defender and protector of law enforcement,
right?
And
definitely need somebody like that in that position.
And you'd hope you'd see that more. And as we try to tell leaders, whether it's in Congress or in the agencies or administration, hey, look, your job is to protect your people. That's your top job. And if your people are taking hits, you should be willing to go out there and correct the record at least and make sure people hear a voice other than, the detractors. So it's nice that we have an acting secretary that wore a gun, wore a badge, did the job, and is fully on board with making sure that he's got our back, so to speak.
Right.
So it's really nice.
Yeah, I thought that was a great way to kick off the conference.
Yeah, same here. Yep.
And thank you for allowing us, the vendors, to come in and take part in that too. So that was very, very unexpected, but yeah, thank you.
Listen, Martin, it's law enforcement is a team effort, and part of that team is all the vendors that support us. Because if we don't have people there's enough people out there to knock you down, right?
Oh yeah.
So and push you back. But if we don't have people that support us, and all the vendors here, whether it was Point Blank or some of the other vendors that are out there, or yourself, it's that gear that we depend on to do the job. So it's nice to see the companies come. It's nice to put our members in touch with the vendors. I think the vendors learn something. I think our members learn something, and I think it's a great opportunity for everybody to sort of learn, which is what this conference is all about.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was also glad to hear that you guys finally stepped up into the 21st century, and you've got an Instagram page now.
We do, and
I can start tagging you guys.
I think you're going to be. I think you're going to be on it shortly.
Okay.
I just sent the pictures in, so I think
there you go. I think you guys are going to get a lot more followers now. So you lead heads, make sure you go, and it's the FLEOA Foundation, right? At FLEOA Foundation,
right?
And you guys can follow them there, and I can start tagging you now.
You can,
and all the posts that I've been doing over the years.
And then we've got our Facebook and our Twitter feeds of FLEOA the FLEOA Facebook, FLEOA Twitter feeds. We've been trying to push out a lot of information, a lot of relevant stuff, a lot of activities. We've got chapters all over the country that do some tremendous work, so we're going to try to get that information out. And also just, like we pushed out last week an article that came out about the Air Marshal Service where it was a FAM that stopped a situation in Miami where a mechanic actually tried to sabotage an aircraft.
Really?
And
I hadn't heard about that one.
Yeah. And the way the perpetrator was caught was the FAM reviewed all the security footage at the airport, found the right footage, found the guy, identified him, and they collared the guy.
Wow.
So the plane literally was taxiing out for runway. The pilots had some error messages, came back, and they found part of their landing gear sabotaged.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
But
they're very fortunate.
That's the kind of work that we, as FLEOA, love to see and message out and let everybody know, hey, look, because that story does not get the type of news play as some of the other craziness you see out there.
Yeah.
Right?
I think another thing, too, is people may not realize, all the different branches of the federal law enforcement. You guys reach out everywhere. You're in the forestry, you're in the aviation, you're everywhere. Talk about some of the lesser-known federal law enforcement agencies.
Oh, you were talking about one today, NRC?
Mm-hmm. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. We've got, FLEOA represents 65 federal agencies. Everything from, the big name agencies, big letter agencies, FBI, Secret Service, DEA, to lesser agencies like Department of Transportation, Office of Inspector General, Nuclear Regulatory Commission, all the interior departments, Fish and Wildlife, the U.S. Park Police,
right.
National Park Service.
I had a ride with a guy with the National Park Service on the way in from the airport, and I'm from Tennessee, and we had a big fire up in our Smoky Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains, recently, a couple of years ago, and he was one of the lead investigators of the CSI for the national park. I didn't know national parks had CSI, and it was pretty cool.
Well, and in Tennessee, you've got the Tennessee River Valley Authority, which is also a federal entity who has law enforcement officers that are technically eligible for FLEOA membership.
Oh, okay.
So, FLEOA touches the broader federal law enforcement community, and we're able to tap into that expertise, which is something we talked about at the conference, is that, I may not know what the regulations are for the size of a fish or what the tax code is for something, but the benefit of FLEOA is we have people that know that stuff. Mm-hmm. Our new national president, Larry Cosme, is a legacy INS agent, and he's now an HSI agent. And Larry knows more about the immigration laws and system than I think anybody else I've ever spoken with.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of expertise that FLEOA can bring to the table, which gives us a lot of legitimacy when we're talking policy stuff, whether at the White House or on Capitol Hill, or even with the agencies.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bill.
Yes, sir.
I understand you got reelected.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you, buddy. Looking forward to another 4 years with you.
Another 4 years with us in FLEOA.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be great.
Bill's done a tremendous job of increasing FLEOA's footprint and the sponsor community and in the tactical community. We love what Bill's doing. We want him to do more. FLEOA wants to have more sponsors, more companies that are interested in supporting the law enforcement profession in FLEOA. And that's why we're starting to do more with the social media and some of the other platforms we have to make sure that the work those sponsors do gets out there. Like we were talking to Point Blank before, and Point Blank actually developed a vest to compete with another vest company that's level 3A, light, form-fitting as an option, which you probably wouldn't have known unless you were here at the conference and you got to touch and feel that vest.
But our lead heads are going to know because we're going to get Bryant on, and he's going to tell us all about it.
Oh, so, good.
Right.
Because Talking Lead, Bill, is the show for
exclusives.
There you go.
I like exclusives.
We like exclusives.
We could do more exclusives on Talking Lead.
Yeah, so lead heads, go to FLEOA.org, and if you're federal, LE, man or woman, go and see about being a member if you're not already.
The FLEOA logo is always "Don't go it alone," but we're going to add on that. We don't want you to fight alone. Come fight with FLEOA.
There you go. I like that. Very good.
Oh.
So we got a good line of interviews coming up for you lead heads. Don, thank you so much for taking the time to be on. You're always welcome back anytime.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
And this is an open show. You can talk about anything on here, that you want to. So, feel free to come back and we'll talk anything.
Thanks, Mike. And thanks for what you do, because you give an area and a voice, or allow a voice for a community, for the law enforcement community that potentially gets not listened to in a lot of other places. So thanks for what you do, and thanks for being a great American.
It is our pleasure. And Bill, we'll have Bill on many, many times.
Oh, yes.
We'll get his alter ego on, Bildo T-Baggins. And we'll have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Lots more coming from the 25th Biennial FLEOA National Conference here in Maryland. Stay tuned. All right, Leadheads, we are back at the 25th Biennial FLEOA National Conference here in Maryland. And joining me now, we've got no stranger to the show. He's been on the podcast at least once that I know of. Maybe
at the last FLEOA conference. That's right.
This was 2 years ago, too.
Yeah.
We've got our good buddy Bryant from Point Blank Body Armor. Is it Body Armor or is it Enterprises now?
Enterprises, yes, sir.
So
we do other things besides just body armor.
That's right. You guys do a whole plethora of things now, too.
Plethora.
You like that?
Yeah, that's one of my words, right? So I've got to work that in somewhere in the day.
Right.
So thanks for checking that box for me.
How many? That's like a 11-letter word or something like that. So I've met my quota for the day.
Yes.
So it has been a while since we've talked, and that's kind of a good thing because you guys have evolved, like you said, and you've gotten into doing a lot more diverse things. But let's talk about what you're known for first, and then we'll kind of get into some other stuff.
All right.
So you're featuring a new vest here at FLEOA. Let's talk about the SRV.
All right. So the SRV is a plate carrier, but it's a little more high speed than your standard plate carrier. So this actually came out of an opportunity in the federal law enforcement market, and it is a modified version of what we produce for that particular opportunity. And the nice thing about this plate carrier, the first thing that jumps out at you is it doesn't have Velcro closure on the front of it. Right, typically on
that loud, noisy.
Yes, the tactical Velcro. Right, it's very quiet. But they this particular organization specified a non-Velcro closure for the waist for the cummerbund, and so we utilized a clip system called an Espeto clip.
Espeto.
That's
almost bigger than plethora.
Yes, I believe it stands for appearance in Italian.
Okay.
But yeah. So, anyways, that buckle system is an Espeto clip.
So it's similar to a Cobra, right?
Yeah, it's made out of some type of
Cobra belt. If you guys are familiar with those,
right? right?
To liken it to something.
The Cobra buckle, something
Yeah.
along those lines. And we do vests that are equipped with a buckle like that as well.
Okay.
Because some people will prefer the plastic or the polyethylene type buckle versus the metal.
The metal.
Yeah. I always laugh when people ask me about, well, a metal buckle, aren't you concerned about secondary fragmentation or whatnot?
Yeah.
And then I point out the fact that there's 90 rounds of ammunition right next to those buckles. That usually kind of quells that pretty quickly.
They're
Like,
like,
oh, yeah, that actually is a bigger problem.
Right.
But
Less concern on the buckle at that point.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, move on, please.
So the no Velcro buckle closure. We also closed the gap that you typically see between the front plate body and the cummerbund itself, where you've got that gap of armor. So we have the front overlapping the plate body a little bit to close that gap. And the other nice thing about both the front and the back of this plate carrier is the panels are interchangeable. So the front comes standard with a triple mag insert that will hold a M4 style magazine, and the back is just a flat MOLLE panel. They have quick release buckles on them, and they're also attached by Velcro.
Okay.
And you could just, if you have multiple missions, you can set a panel up in a certain way, and let's say you're using a different weapon that day. Your mission is different that day. You just instead of having to weave the panels back through the MOLLE, you just swap the panel out.
Swap the panel
and use a different one. So very, very convenient there. Both of the front and back plate body are bottom loading panels or plate pockets, and these are done in a couple different sizes. So this is the extra large size. It will hold a 10 by 12 and an 11 by 14 plate.
Okay.
And then we make the smaller size that will hold an 8 by 10 and a 10 by 12.
Gotcha.
And there's webbing and elastic inside to secure that smaller plate on
To keep it
either
from
one of those
wiggling
sizes,
around?
keep it from moving around.
Nice.
Yep. Padding on the shoulders. You can get armor in the shoulders as well, and it's adjustable on the back via an elastic cord that is covered up by that MOLLE panel. And this particular standard vest comes as a non-releasable vest, but it can be set up with a quick release right in the center chest up top, and released with a pull of that lever, and it releases the two buckles on the back of the shoulders. And
Nice.
I say back of the shoulders, right? So I want to call that out. One of the things that we wanted to do with this vest, and we've done with several other plate carriers, is got those buckles away from the front of the carrier, because they become a challenge when you're trying to shoulder a long gun. And so we've moved them to the back.
Okay.
And you can't get away from the bulk completely, because you've got the shoulder pads, and you've got the webbing.
Anytime you have padding, you're going to have.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of bulk
that's
there,
the
but it's
whole-
got to suspend itself somehow.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't have that hard plastic buckle there that's getting in your way.
Right.
So that's that's definitely a nice
It's a good
feature.
Yeah.
Another thing is on the front plate body on both sides, you have extra either magazine holders or radio pouches. Those work very well. And the nice thing is they're captured inside of the cummerbund once it's buckled.
Okay.
And you don't have that thing sticking out on the side to add to your tactical girth and get caught up as you're moving along.
Exactly. Nice. And so as we're talking about this, guys, go to their website. Go to Point Blank's website, which is
PointBlankEnterprises.com.
it's going to be long, but spell it out. Point Blank Enterprises.
PointBlankEnterprises.com.
Probably it'll do like a quick fill in as they're typing it. And check out these products as we're talking about them.
Another nice feature on this vest that's on this vest. It's not it's not standard, but it's something that you can use on this vest or retrofit to any of our tactical vests. Is the insert in the front kangaroo pocket. It's set up with our new bungeeless retention system. Gets rid of those bungees that can be a little, there's no...
They can get you tied up.
There's no putting those things back in there quickly, right?
Right.
So it's nice that, it's got some good solid retention.
And talk about the
no
construction of that. These are for your magazines, your AR magazines. Do you do them also for pistol magazines too?
So we right now we just do the M4 style magazine.
Okay.
No, not pistol mags yet that I'm aware of.
Gotcha. Now talk about the construction of that retention system there?
So it's got a, I'm not sure exactly the name of the material. It escapes me right now, but what they've done is they've created tension on both sides with an elastic band that's down inside there, and you can double that up or go down to the single band depending on what kind of retention you want.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is should it wear out, and we've done a bunch of testing with thousands and thousands of times of putting that magazine in, taking it out, and so on, to see what kind of lifespan this thing has.
Right.
And it's very decent. But the nice thing is if it does start to lose its retention, just put a new one of those elastic bands on it.
Okay.
And it's brand new again.
Yeah, and this is an accessory that you can add to your vest.
Yep.
And what is it called? What's the name of this?
Bungulus retention, magazine retention.
Okay, yeah.
Magazine pouch.
And I really like this because it does do away with all those cords. So you don't have all those cords to get you tied up and messed up with. So it's very clean now, and like he said, very quick in and out with your magazines. I like that.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So is that the SRV?
That's pretty much the SRV.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Any other new vests that we need to make sure that everybody aware of?
Yeah, I want to call out. So we, the SRV, and we do a lot of tactical vests. We also do a tremendous amount of concealable vests. And one of the things that we are finally seeing here in America is folks are starting to wear, uniformed patrol officers are starting to wear their vests on the outside of their shirt in an external carrier like the rest of the countries on the planet. And in doing that, you've got to take into consideration the different missions and so on. So we've come out. We've always had a crossover line for our concealable shaped armor to take it and put it into an external carrier and wear in that configuration. But what we've done with the ODC, or the outer duty carrier line, is give you several different options of a setup that will work for pretty much anything that you need to do. So we've got one that's a cummerbund design where it has the flap closure in the front. We've got one that comes with standard pockets. We've got one that's we call it the admin, right? So that's actually the one I'm holding right now. There's no
sleek.
Yeah, it's the pockets that are on it are kind of covert. There's no molly on it. Very, very clean look, professional looking for those folks that might want to wear an outer carrier but don't want molly, because somewhere along the line somebody declared molly as a tactical.
Oh no! Is it on the ban list somewhere?
Yeah, accessory.
Molly is a ban.
Yeah,
on the
it can
list.
it can be threatening to some folks, and I guess I could understand that to a degree.
Looks threatening.
Right. Right. We don't want to threaten anybody with our molly. So
with our molly, yeah.
So that's an option. The other cool thing about these is you have a choice of closure system on the side.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was noticing this one.
Yeah. So this one's got the Espedo clip on it.
Okay. This is the Espedo.
And that's actually an additional cost if you want to do the Espedo clip on them. But it comes standard with the option of Velcro or a zipper closure on the side.
Okay.
Right. So obviously this works very well. And we talked about it on the SRV. So that's a clean look. The thing that we've done with these carriers that is a nice feature, and this helps us from a manufacturing standpoint, and it also can help an agency if they're outfitting multiple people with this outer carrier. So we have a range of sizes, if you can imagine, right? So you having to fit everybody that you might have to fit in an agency, you've got to have a bunch of different sizes. And so there's a standard size, and then there's a long and a short for that particular size, and so on. So what we did with this carrier is tried to combine a few of the sizes. So this particular front and back for this size 48 regular will fit a handful of sizes on either side of that 48 regular.
Okay.
Right? And the way we do that is there's extra fabric that rolls up underneath here. So if this vest were, let's say, a 48 short, right, an S1, then it would just roll up further underneath here.
Okay.
But
Just
you don't
make
have
an
to.
adjustment
Yeah,
to it.
you don't have to make a new carrier for that.
Gotcha.
The only thing that changes from size to size is there's a sock that goes in here, and that's actually what you see sticking out the edge on the side here.
Yeah.
And it has the Velcro closure and stuff on there. But that's the only thing that is specific to an individual
certain size.
right? So a 48 regular has to have a 48 regular sock.
Okay.
And it's convenient.
And the
because
sock is it's on the side. It's what's on the side of the
kind of the
cummerbund area.
If you think about a concealable vest, right? So you have the wings that come out on the front and back and wrap around to give you the full side closure. That's where that
the
sock
sock.
goes is around those on each side and comes up about a third of the way on the panel.
Very cool. And that's called the
ODC, the Outer
ODC.
Duty Carrier. It's one of our. If you go to our website, it's going to be showcased under the crossover carriers.
Okay. Now, do you guys do you sell to the civilian market?
Point Blank directly does not.
Okay.
Many of our distributors do.
Okay.
And unless there's a certain state out there that prohibits it, and there are not any that I'm aware of.
I'm sure there's
most of the stuff
one
with,
or two. Who knows?
Yeah, like we talked about briefly before we started. Most of the stuff with body armor or anything else, it's completely legal to own, providing you don't use it in some type of a criminal act.
Right.
And then that enhances
It
penalties.
kind of goes
and so
along
on.
with anything.
Right.
You're allowed to own anything. Anything you're allowed to own, you're not supposed to use it in a criminal manner. So the website, again, pointblankenterprises.com. You guys go check those out. You've got the plates as well, and they can get these through distributors also. There's a list of distributors on your website, I would assume.
Yep, there's on the website there's a menu across the top, and I think the button is where to buy, and you can actually put your zip code in there, and it'll populate with distributors within your area by whatever mile radius you program in there. I think it defaults to like 50 miles, but you can expand that out.
Expand it if you want to. Okay. Let's talk about some of the armor that you brought with you today. You've got one of your new armor plates here.
All right, so that's the Omega plate.
The Omega, I like that.
The Omega plate.
The Omega Man.
The cool thing about this plate is the weight, right? So this is a 10 by 12 plate, and it weighs like 2 pounds. And it's very, very thin.
Extremely lightweight, and you're getting a lot of protection out of this. It's going to defeat the 5.56, the 7.62 by 3.9 PS ball, M ball, and it's going to be the 7.62 by 5.1 as well.
The 308.
Yeah, the
M80
308 from this, and that's 2 pounds of lightweightness. And I mean, this is something that you could throw into your backpack too. I mean, if you're carrying a backpack, you don't have the body armor. Just to give you some level of protection. But this is nice. I really like this. And it's got the cuts on it.
The nice thing about this plate, too, is it comes in sizes from 5 by 8 all the way up to 10 by 12. So, and we do some larger ones. You can do the extra large ESAPI,
okay.
So 11 by 14. But the whole idea behind this is we have a lot of concern about active shooter situations, right?
Yeah,
and we have sold a bunch of kits where folks have plate carriers and plates that they can carry in the trunk of their patrol vehicle and have at the ready. And at the same time, you don't always necessarily have the luxury of grabbing what's in your trunk. So the nice thing about this Omega plate is it's light enough and thin enough that you can wear this in either a concealed platform underneath your shirt or in your external carrier for the entire shift. And depending upon what size you get, the 5 by 8, weighs a fraction of that, and wear it all shift long and still have rifle level protection in that critical area.
Nice, very nice. Digging that, and is that new? Is that a newer?
It's probably about a year old.
Okay, so yeah, still kind of new. Very cool. What else we got to talk about?
All right, so I've got an ultra concealable vest here I wanted to show you, right? So this is when you want to wear a vest and they don't know you're wearing anything at all.
Wear underneath your clothing.
Yeah. So we, especially in the federal law enforcement market, I have a lot of folks that are looking for something really, really concealable.
Yeah.
They're working surveillance details or some kind of UC work or a protective detail, and they need to wear armor and don't want it detected.
Right.
So we came out with a design a couple years ago called an executive, and this is a variation of that original executive design, and it's pared down a little bit smaller, so the front and back panels of this are basically the same size of a plate backer, right? So 10 by 12 plate backer of soft armor, and then you have the option on the sides of adding soft armor for protection on the sides. And the reason we did that is we were working with an agency that their particular requirement, so their SOP mandated that they have side coverage.
Okay.
So we added these pouches to check that
why
box.
not use the side coverage if you can add that to it? Why
A lot of times, folks, and the reason people that are working plain clothes, maybe suits, doing a protective detail or something like that, don't necessarily like side coverage, is they don't want anything overlapping for sure. Because what happens there is, they're trying to wear a holster that's in a very close fitting, pancake style holster, riding close to the body, and the armor can actually make that can out a little bit and print and et cetera. But the nice thing about this is there's not an overlap. So
that's awful thin. I don't think that would come into play with anybody's holster.
But even if it did,
system.
You can take it out on one side and leave it in on the other, right? So leave it in on your non-weapon side and take it out on the weapon side if it's a problem for you.
Sure.
But very, very sleek and concealable. It's got a zipper closure on.
Oh, this is really light.
Yeah, and that's 3A.
Really, that's 3A?
Yep.
And this is maybe 2 pounds.
Yeah, it's
not
not
even
much.
that. I mean, I don't know. It's lighter than that plate.
Right.
Plate. This would be very it's soft. The material that you're using here is that kind of the breathable, flexible.
Yeah, I think it's a 4-way stretch material.
Okay. Very nice. And these are available now?
They are.
Okay.
It's a.
Do you know price points on these?
It varies, right?
Okay.
So I don't want to throw a number out there,
Sure.
and the reason I say that it varies if you're talking about buying one or buying 1,000 of them,
Right.
So the one thing I will say,
I mean, that would be a great one, just for everyday wear for our listeners too. I mean, it's very comfortable and lightweight, and like you said,
Right.
you get 3A protection out of that.
Yep, absolutely. And I think I talked about this. I don't know if I finished my thought on it, but the closure on this
On the
is
sides?
the standard closure is with a zipper, but we added, based on an agency request, just added the redundant closure of a Velcro flap there, so that if there is any issue with the zipper, the whole vest isn't out of commission.
Yeah. Well, that also covers up that zipper too, so
Right.
it's not
Printing.
or poking through.
Right.
The clothes. So yeah, that's a good little addition right there. Very nice, and that's called the Executive.
That is the Executive. That particular one is one of our numerous modifications of the Executive. And if you look at on our website, the Executive is listed there. Now, the exact one that I just showed you is not on there. The standard Executive would be there.
Okay.
But this one is certainly available. I think this one is Mod 6.
Okay. Very nice. Well, this is some good stuff, man. I'm glad you guys came out to show us your new wares.
Yeah, I'm glad you invited me back.
Heck yeah! So you're saying your Enterprises now. What else are you guys getting into? What are you offering now?
So you did a podcast the other day with Bob Denny from First Tactical,
Right.
So that's First Tactical is one of Point
Maybe
Blank.
or maybe it's coming up after this.
Yeah, it
one.
could be.
It depends on when I
Either
edit
way,
this.
at some point you did a podcast with him.
Yes.
But yeah, so First Tactical is one of Point Blank Enterprises companies, and great group of folks that are putting some awesome tactical clothing out there in the market.
Yeah.
And they
Clothing and accessories,
Yep.
I mean, knives and flashlights and the backpacks.
Yep, I'm actually wearing First Tactical clothing now.
Okay.
Boots and trousers and
And
polo
polos.
shirt.
Yeah.
Yep, very comfortable. This new V2 fabric in these trousers, outstanding, comfortable. Got a little bit of stretch to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
so
me
they
a pair.
fit before and after lunch.
Get that flexible material that he was talking about.
Right.
That's in there.
Right.
And I like that too because it's built in. And there's no straps or anything that you got to pull
Right.
or release. Or
It's
anything
actually
like
integral to the fabric itself.
that. Yeah, it grows with you or it shrinks with you.
That's right.
So are there other companies too that are falling underneath?
There are. So Gould and Goodrich holster company.
Okay.
Right, those guys are under the Point Blank Enterprises umbrella now as well. We have, let's see here.
What about the sock company? Is that First Tactical doing the socks also?
Yep, they do socks, belts, all kinds of jackets and bags, backpacks, and rifle bags. And
we're talking about doing. I gave him an idea on a bag to do.
Nice,
a dive bag.
A dive bag.
A dive bag, yeah.
All right, yeah. So you got SOB, Special Operations Bunker.
Well, I hope that's what that means. Special Operations Bunker.
Right. Yeah. So it's a tactical bunker. It's on wheels. There's several different models, but to give you protection above what you can carry typically, right?
Okay.
So level 4 rifle protection.
Bring it in on a truck or something, and then set it up or something.
They fold up, and you can put them in the trunk of a vehicle, back of an SUV.
Kind of like a little pop-up barrier.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They work very well. I mean, they've got some weight to them, right? So you
need more than one person.
You need to pick them up with intention, and correctly, and don't don't hurt yourself.
Toes.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you've got the original brands that came under the Point Blank Enterprises umbrella of Paraclete and PACA.
Okay. What's PACA?
So PACA, we've actually was a standalone armor company at one time. Mm-hmm. And we have rebranded them to a degree to be our corrections line.
Okay.
So when you're talking about spike armor and things of that nature, that's where that.
Okay, they get more of the specialized type armor. Very cool. Well, good deal, Bryant. Always a pleasure to have you on. You're always welcome back on the show. Now, I understand that you're kind of getting into the podcast business yourself. Why don't you tell our listeners about
what
about the podcast that you're gonna kick up here?
Yeah. So first off, thanks for again inviting me to come and be on the podcast, and always enjoy it. So yeah, we decided, and I say we because I got a partner in this.
Right.
A few months ago, back I think May, June, we decided we want to do a podcast, and we toyed with the idea a little bit about what we were going to call it, what we were going to talk about, and what we landed on is the Graybeard Chronicles.
The Graybeard Chronicles.
Graybeard Chronicles.
Sounds wise. Like there's going to be a lot of wisdom coming from this podcast.
Yeah. that's the intent, right? So the wisdom of the aged, or ages, depending upon how you want to say it, right? And so Kevin Harkins is the gentleman that I'm doing this podcast with, and Kevin is a retired Coast Guard officer.
Okay.
And we met because the company that he's founded and is the CEO of Harkon is the parent company of a brewery.
Nice.
Six Bears and a Goat Brewery in Fredericksburg, Virginia, Stafford County. And I met him at the brewery. Imagine that.
Fancy that.
The plot thickens.
Yeah.
But exactly. But no, just a great guy, and we have very similar values, and we had developed a friendship over the last 2 years, and he'd invited me to speak at one of their Learning Over Beer presentations that they do.
I like it.
Yeah, and it's
beer.
Yeah, it's a free thing that they do once a month, and they have different speakers come in and speak on various topics that are personal or professional development related, or just anything in general.
Right.
And it's an excuse,
knowledge based.
Yeah, it's an excuse to come and have some
better than TED
Talks. Have some productive beer drinking time. Right? You got smarter while you were drinking beer.
Exactly.
Or at least you had the opportunity to get smarter.
I was always told that all answers lie at the bottom of the pitcher of the beer, and if it's not in that one, it's in the next one.
Yeah, because you probably never actually get there, right? You never get to the
you
bottom.
You never get the answer, so you got to get another one.
That's right.
You got to get another one.
But yeah, so we launched this thing, and we just recorded our 10th episode.
10th, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so you're well on your way then.
We have we've talked about it because you read different things, and we read an article that said you make it past 7, I think, and that's a good
waypoint,
mark, if you will. And,
okay.
And then there's others that say 15 or whatever. But we joked the other night that we're gonna stop calling out. We made it to episode number 10. I'm like, no, we're not. Man. We're not gonna stop. It's because that's a celebration every time. That's an accomplishment.
It is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're on 317 or
that's
18,
awesome.
whatever.
I listened to 315 on the way up here. So.
Okay, there you go. And I still announce every episode every time.
Yeah, and this is a weekly podcast for you. Do you do one a week, or you do
somewhere around there? One a week, 4 a month, 5 a month.
But at least one a week.
Sometimes, yeah.
So you do the math. You've been doing this a while.
Unless it's like a vacation month or something, I might do 3. But lead heads know.
Yeah,
I'll catch up. I'll double up and catch up next time. So
yeah. So we launched this, and we talk about different things, but ultimately the format is Kevin and I just sitting there having a conversation. Usually involves an adult beverage and a cigar or a pipe, or Kevin's a pipe smoker. I haven't mastered that art yet, but I think I'm going to check it out.
You're going to check it out?
Yeah, I think I'm going to check it out. I know a couple of good friends that smoke pipes and they enjoy it, and I think I'm going to try it, but I just haven't done that yet.
So, again, the name of the podcast is?
It's the graybeardchronicles.com, and you can
get it on podcasting apps?
I don't know about all of them, but definitely available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Okay, and iTunes, iHeartRadio.
If you go directly,
like
you go directly to the website, and there's a link to listen on there. So,
cool. I'm going to check it out, man. You didn't let me know that you had released it. I know you.
You
reached out to me a few months ago.
Well, and I was just going to tell you, thank you for that. So I'm sorry I did not tell you that.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I called Marty when I was thinking about launching this. I was like, who do I know that does a podcast?
That long-haired dude that I met back in St. Louis.
That's right.
FLEOA.
Right. The dude, Marty's got some good hair, man. So if you haven't seen that hair, it's got some good hair.
Thanks, man. So. It's like a 2-year cycle, and I guess because this falls every 2 years, you get my long hair. You don't ever get to see me with the short hair.
No,
so it's about time for me to cut this again.
No, don't do it.
We donate it, man. We donate.
Okay, well that's that's
donate it and do it again.
Understandable.
Yeah. This will be my third. My third cycle.
I donated mine. I don't know where it went though.
They didn't get it.
It's never come back.
Very cool. Again, thank you so much for taking the time, Bryant, to be on. Definitely going to check out your podcast. Have me on sometime. We'd love to be on your podcast.
Yep, we're still navigating the learning curve of technology, and we'll have to figure out how we're going to add somebody on the phone or whatever. Or you could just come in person to the brewery.
There you go. That's what I was getting at.
Okay, yeah.
I want to come have one of those brewery beers with you and take part in the beer talks.
All right.
Much better than a TED Talks.
Yes, indeed.
And you were calling those the beer was it?
Learning over beers.
Learning over beers.
LOB. Lob Talks, we call them for short.
Lob Talks.
But yeah, I spoke at that
event.
Better
than a TED Talk.
And we, both Kevin and I are very passionate about personal and professional development. So that's the kind of the theme of our talks. Like the first one we did was on suicide prevention.
Okay.
And, how that really pertains to the public safety community and so on.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
it pertains to every one of us.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy the number of people that we lose in America to suicide every year. I mean, it's well over 40,000. It's upwards of like 45,000 people a year.
Right.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It is definitely. We'll definitely chat over some beers. I'll come visit you guys, and you may find me on the Gray Beard Chronicles.
That would be cool. Yeah, and I appreciate the advice that you gave me on starting that thing up. So.
Have you come up with a logo yet? You got a logo?
Right now it's just the picture of us two handsome gray bearded dudes.
Okay.
With an American flag behind us.
My beard isn't quite as glorious as Bryant's, and you can go to our Instagram and social media and you can see pictures of Bryant there. We're going to be posting those, but. I've got some gray going there.
Yeah,
a little bit of gray.
It's coming in. Embrace it. It'll keep coming.
I embrace it, definitely.
Yep.
All right, lead heads, we are back with more from the FLEOA biennial national conference here in Baltimore, Maryland, and we're actually on the campus of University of Maryland?
Yep.
University of Maryland.
Yep.
And joining me now, I have the COO of First Tactical. You guys may remember First Tactical from a couple of years ago. We had John Christ on.
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about their line of products. And Bob Denny is joining us today, and they've got a lot more since last time we talked.
Yeah, we've definitely grown over the last few years.
Yeah, so you guys have really, over the past 2 years, really expanded into diversifying your product line, I guess
Right.
would be a good way to say that.
Well, we've built our team based upon having 25 people from our past. So we're the founders of another tactical brand that we started back in 2003. And we left Dan Costa, who's was the founder of really both companies.
Mm-hmm.
He left in 2012, and so we've gone back and kind of rebuilt the team. And in the important people in an apparel company is the designers, the developers, the sourcing agents, the people who know how to make the goods. And we've built a line that's purely focused against public safety. Really kind of how we built the other brand is we started with that as our focus,
Right.
And that's where we intend to stay.
Very good. Now today you're going to share with us some of your new lines of products, and I'm seeing knives, I'm seeing flashlights, I'm seeing some clothing, I see a vest over there. Where do you want to start? I mean, there's so much to talk about here.
There definitely is, and I think again we looked at each one of the product categories that where we had competed in, and apparel is really the main piece of the business.
Right.
But we've looked at each one of those product categories, and we've said, hey, how do we make a product that's going to be better for public safety and for law enforcement specifically?
Yeah.
And then how do we bring it at a price that's affordable? Some of the things that that we see that in the tactical environment have mean that the prices go up. And these are designed to be used as tools. Whether it's for a job or you're going to be taking these products out and beating them up.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that there's quality, that all those things that are needed in there, but it's also at affordable price.
Yeah. And let's just take the pants that we were talking about there.
Mm-hmm.
This new line of pants that you guys have, and you were telling me about all the special features of this pants, and
Mm-hmm.
competitive brands, price wise versus what this is. It was pretty remarkable. So let's talk about
Right.
your line
Well,
of pants here.
there's some brands that have come onto the market that are designed for special operations. I don't want to use any names, but their prices are around $270 for a pair of pants. So
Yeah,
you can
I'll
probably-
say 5'11". I'll say it.
So what we did is we looked at those products and we said, how do we make it better, right? So we started with a fabric that's a NICO, so it's a nylon cotton. It exceeds the ASTM 6413 standard for no melt, no drip. And then, so we started with a great fabric. We added in mechanical stretch. And mechanical stretch is important because when the end user puts it on, you've got about 1.5 inches of play in the waist,
Right.
without having to have bungees and kind of gimmicks on the inside.
Right,
So
pulleys, I call them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's integral to the product. And then we built in a lot of the features that are very important. So you'll see some nylon webbing that reinforces some of the belt loops.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're wearing a level 1 escape harness, you've got the ability to have that reinforcement, and that's been riveted into a triple needle seam. Triple needle seams are very difficult to manufacture on a consistent basis.
Right. Which drives cost up also.
It does,
Right.
but again, if you're doing this with the purpose and the focus of a public safety, we can make it work.
Yeah.
And then the pockets are designed with features so it makes it easy access, right? If you're wearing this pant, you probably have a drop-down holster. So with a drop-down, if this was a slash pocket, you can't get your hand into that space.
Right.
So we put in what's called a jean cut, and the jean cut allows you to get your hand in there into a key pocket or into an internal key fob. We created easy access pockets for your earbuds,
Mm-hmm.
and then also put a slight cant in the mag pocket, right? So if you're seated in a vehicle, you can now work that
Okay.
mag out, and it makes it much easier. The cargo pocket on the side and all the pockets are designed so that there's no snag points. So if you're in and around brush or in and around buildings, you're not going to have any snag points in that forward direction. The flap that's designed will actually keep that pocket closed. Underneath is a YKK self-healing rolled coil zipper, right?
Okay.
So if you want to get in there quietly, you can. Internally, there's an organizing structure that'll allow for 2 AR mags or 2 cat tourniquet pockets could be installed in there. And then there's also a spot for 3 pistol mags. It's a lot of weight, right? Call that, could be 6 pounds worth of material.
At least.
So what so what we did is that we've bar tacked it into that triple needle seam. So now all that weight, it's actually bar
Get
tacked.
additional support for all that weight.
And the weight's been redistributed all the way back up to that reinforced belt loop.
And you were talking about there's 7 belt loops?
7 belt loops strategically placed, so that works very well with a gun rig.
Right.
On the down in the knee, you've got an external access point for knee pads, so you can take those in and out. We backed up that material with a moisture wicking fabric, so that'll pull sweat away from your leg.
Right.
And then in the top of
Vent.
that top of that pocket, you've got the ability to vent out. Right, that's going to be a heavy sweat area, so that's going to keep the heat away from the operator.
Keep the air flowing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cat tourniquet pocket down on the calf. Blousing straps are already built in, so if you want to blouse, that makes it real easy. And then,
And for those who don't know what that is, that's where you pull the ankles tight down around your ankles, around your boot.
there you go. Sorry.
That's okay.
And then in the crotch of the pant, you've got a what we call a diamond gusset.
The diamond gusset. Now, is that a patented kind of thing?
It's a design feature. In the apparel world, it's kind of hard to patent stitching.
Okay.
I mean, that's exactly. But it's a design feature that we've put into this pant because we know that it's going to be put under stress. Traditionally, the seams in the crotch of a pant are going to cross right in the center.
Right.
When you bend down to pick up someone or something, all that stress is in the thread, and that's how they
Pulling
break.
the threads apart. And
So
with
this
the
ma-
diamond gusset, you don't get that.
The diamond gusset basically puts that stress into the broadcloth of the fabric. Right, I can pull on that as hard as I want, and it won't break.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm pulling against the tensile strength of the fabric, and that won't happen. In these pants, we've also added in 10 ventilation ports. Again, keep the heat away from the operator. On the rear,
Keeping your giblets cool. Keeping them ventilated.
exactly. On the rear of the pant, no flaps or straps, kind of no monkey business.
Yeah.
Just 2 clean welted pockets that do zip close to keep your wallet or your credentials intact.
Whatever you got back there.
Exactly.
Very nice.
So these are.
And how are those sized? How does?
So they come in waist and an inseam.
Okay.
And come in OD green, come in black, come in dark navy, and then also in multicam.
Okay.
All right. There's a shirt that
Not doing a khaki?
we're adding additional colors. One of the key tenets of our business, though, is we know that public safety needs their products when they need their products,
Right.
And so it's not fashion, right? Where if you don't like our green, you can go get somebody else's green because you got to look the same as the guy next to you, right?
Yeah.
It's a uniform for that reason. So one of our key tenets is what we call narrow and deep, right? So we have a relatively narrow product line, certainly compared to our former company. But it's about 10% of their sizes. But what we have is we stock deep, right? So when you order it, if you ordered one of every single SKU in our catalog, we'll ship 98% tomorrow.
Nice.
So we're there for.
So it's more about having available than
well
the diversity.
If you or your department makes that decision to choose our products, we've got to be there for you. Right, and we've got to be there for our distribution network, our mom and pop dealers that support the business.
Yeah.
So if we can't deliver, then they can't deliver, and an officer needs his pants.
That's right. Absolutely. So where do we want to go? We go to the shirt now.
Yeah, the shirt is the same. We put the same thought process into it. So this is designed to be worn underneath your body armor.
Okay.
All right. So it's got a knit fabric in here. We call it a performance knit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about kind of the world in which the officers operate in, there's a lot of Velcro, right? Hooks and loops.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is we made our performance knit. Knitting is a series of loops, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is we made our loops very tight, right? So then that makes it harder for those hooks to get in, and we call that a snag-resistant core.
Okay.
Over on the side panels, this is a Cordura nylon inset, right? So Cordura nylon as a woven is snag-proof.
Okay.
Right? And so if you're bringing around your cummerbund from your body armor, that's where all the snag points are. So
Right.
snag-proof, snag-resistant in the core.
So the Velcro is not gonna catch up on that.
Won't snag and won't pill, right?
Okay.
It won't stretch out in that space. Velcro closed cuff. We've got an elbow pad spot, so I can open that up with Velcro, and then I can insert the elbow pad. Nice feature on the sleeve with a lot of these types of shirts, right? They typically have a Velcro flap up here on the top. Even if they can't that, if you're fully kitted in armor, it's really hard to get your hand, open that up and get your hand into that space. So what we did is just put on a real simple YKK self-healing rolled coil zipper, and now I could get an iPhone 10 and an OtterBox into this space, right? So plenty of space to stow your gear. And then it's been pre-patched for your unit markers, and then also a spot for a pen pocket out in there.
Yeah.
The collar on this is a full Mandarin collar, so I can zip that all the way up. So I got full neck protection, so nothing goes down. And then if I don't like that, I can fold it back and it lays flat.
Got the collars, yeah.
All right. We've also taken to the point of the detail to where on the top of the zipper, that's closed off so that if you got razor stubble, you don't get...
He's not nicking the,
not
the
snagging
stubble.
in there.
Yeah, I hate that.
On the back of the shirt is probably one of the best features, though, and what you'll see is called a split Raglan shoulder.
Yeah,
right.
So it's reinforced.
Well, if in like the shirt that you're wearing has a Raglan shoulder that goes all the way across, right? Well, as you're reaching or you're punching out with your weapon, you're going to get some restriction here in the shoulders. With ours, because we're taking advantage of the knit and that stretch fabric, right? I've got full range of motion, so no restriction in the shoulders. It makes it really comfortable, especially if you're kitted out in body armor.
Right.
Right.
Now, how are the sizes on those?
So these are
just normal
alpha sizes. So
Alpha,
medium, large, extra large, and the rest.
Now, are they fitting true to size, or is like if you normally are large, you need to get a medium, or how's that work?
It's not a tight fit, right? Because again, we wanted to make sure it's more of what we call it our polo fit. So it's designed to be comfortable as you're wearing it. If you want it to be tighter, then you probably want to go down a size.
Gotcha.
Right. So there's plenty of other concepts that we have. Our boots is one thing that's been a real.
May I?
Real.
I'll see your boots.
Yeah.
I'm big into footwear. I love footwear.
So that's our we call that our urban operator.
Okay.
And that is based upon a running shoe last. So basically the bottom sole is anti-slip, oil resistant. And if you see the way that lug pattern is designed, as you're moving throughout the day, if you get mud and gunk in there, it kicks it out.
Yeah.
In the midsole, right, you can press down in there. You can see that there's Phylon in that, the midsole here, right? So like a running shoe.
So like a shock absorber kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a material called Phylon that will take the impact and then returns to shape. Like in any good running shoe, you'll see on the heel, I've got a heel stabilizer.
Yeah.
Right? So that stops you from rolling your ankles. Right? Again, you can see that technology in the running shoe world, and so we've incorporated that
into your boots. Now, what are your boots called?
This is called the Urban Operator.
The Urban Operator.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one has a black polishable toe, all 100% top grain U.S. leather hides. These are TPU insets. So those TPU insets allow for it's actually stronger than leather, and then the ventilation areas in there allow for better breathability. We use 550 cord lacing, so very durable 550 cords. And then there's another nice feature in here in the tongue, right? So when you tie your boots, you tie your laces, right? You got a couple of things that you can do with it, right? You can wrap that around the boot, right, and then tie it again. Well, if you do that, you're going to put restriction back around your Achilles. You don't want to do that. You can stuff those into your boot, which is what a lot of guys do. What we created is a lace garage.
Oh, nice.
So now there's a place for those laces to go, and then they don't come undone during.
So what he's got is on the top of the tongue here. It's just a little compartment that you can just shove your laces up in, and it's up.
Yeah, it's a stretch nylon pocket so that...
this morning when I was putting my boots on, you can see all the extra laces. And see, my tongue's way down there, so yeah, it's hard for me. So I just
You kind of let them dangle, and
Yeah, I hate that.
it looks like that.
It looks like crap, yeah. And those get hung up on things from time to time and, get caught. And then this just gets your laces out of the way. I like that.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys designed? Is that a...
It's again, it's not like a patented thing,
Yeah.
because it's a pocket essentially.
Yeah.
That so you can't patent that, but it is something that we put into all of our boots to make it more comfortable.
Okay.
But probably the best feature on these boots though is right back in here, and that's
I
called.
was going to ask you about that, yeah.
It's called the Achilles flex point. So if you think about what you're doing for most of the day, right? Gas, brake, right? And so you see how that is, is
giving, yeah.
basically is already broken in.
It's like a shock absorber.
Yeah, well, it's a flex point, so that if you were looking at a pair of boots that you've worn for a year that were, a 7-inch, 8-inch boot, there's going to be a flex point, but you created it. Right. So, and that's basically a lot of, pressure against your Achilles. We just put that in there, so that makes that much more comfortable.
And you use that instead of the hard leather, you've got this material. What'd you call this material?
It's Achilles flex point.
No, this material.
So that's a breathable nylon, where that's gonna.
So instead of the leather, it's a breathable nylon and this is, you said this material was called. It's just leather, right?
Oh yeah, that's all top grain U.S. leather hides.
Okay.
Yeah, that's leather in there, and that's what that kind of spring looking thing is. But it's basically just the flex in there, so that it allows you to move up and down on the boot.
And this stuff gives you ventilation, a little better ventilation with this.
Allows for breathability.
Material. Yeah.
There's also a bungee pull tab. Right, so if you think about, I can put my finger in there, pull my boots on real easy, and then it lays flat. So it's not like some boots have a loops back in here, and it hangs up on your pants, and people start to
I can't ever get my finger in this loop either.
Is that right?
No, I mean, it's like, and I got small fingers, so imagine somebody's got big sausage fingers trying to use these tabs to pull.
Right.
I don't see how they do it. But
well, either that,
you got plenty of room with this. Yeah.
Yeah. Get your finger in there, and then it lays flat, right? So it's a bungee.
Yeah.
So that
snaps back into shape.
Doesn't hang up, and people make fun of you because you're.
Well, another thing is your pants get hung up on this little tab.
Exactly.
Thing, so you don't get the.
So ours lays flats. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. So your pants will go over the back of your boot.
Right.
Every time.
And again, all these features that are in these products is really the result of the 25 men and women that we have on our team that are the designers, the developers, the sourcing people who understand how do we make a great product, right? We've made a lot of great products in the past, and now we've just been able to kind of wipe the board clean and start fresh with, new designs, but understanding where we came from.
Now, are they all zip-ups, or do you have some that are non-zip?
There's some non-zips. So this is the Urban Operator, which does have the side zip on it.
Okay.
There's the Standard Operator, which doesn't have the black polishable toe and is not side zip.
It's got more of this nylon material.
Correct. Yeah. It's got the.
I was going to ask because I really like that. It's going to be lighter weight too.
It is. Yeah, it's lighter weight. The TPU insets, basically that's
like that boot.
Makes it stronger. And then that comes in both the black and then also in the Coyote.
Okay. And these are 6-inch?
They're 7.
7-inch. Okay. So it's kind of cutting the difference between a standard 6 and 8.
It is, yeah. And I think that's kind of where we saw it is, the profile gives you, a better comfort overall.
Yeah. I'm just gone over this. What's this one called?
That's the Operator.
The Operator, yeah.
That's the Urban Operator has the black polishable toe. The Operator doesn't.
Now, are these in different colors as well?
That'll come. The Urban Operator comes with the black polishable toe with a side zip, and then there's a waterproof side zip.
Okay.
And then this one that you're looking at here, which is the Operator, is doesn't have the side zip, and then that one also comes in Coyote.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I'm digging that one.
And you'll see in this, also in here, there's an inset pocket. Actually, it's a promotion that we're running on our website currently where if you buy one of our Urban Operator boots, you get the free scorpion knife.
Oh, nice.
So in these boots, there's a knife pocket.
We didn't talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a knife pocket.
Built-in pocket, yeah.
So that inserts into there. And then this sheath.
So on the 7-inch that goes up your ankle area there's a little pocket where you can put a knife or whatever.
Yeah. And this knife has the scorpion knife has a little sheath, and the sheath is a level 2 retention. So There's a thumb release in here, and then that allows you to pull the skeletonized knife out and insert it, and it goes in with an audible click so that you know it's locked into place.
Very cool. And you're running. How long's your promotion going to last?
While supplies last on that one. So
Okay.
we've got we're just releasing the Urban Operator boot. So it's if you buy one of our Urban Operator boots, and those are $129 and then $139 in the waterproof version.
Okay. So as we're talking, give your website so people can go and look this stuff up, because then they can visually look at it while they're listening to us.
Sure. Yeah. The website is www.firsttactical.com.
Okay. Very, very easy, simple enough.
Yep.
And is this on the website now?
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Urban Operator,
Sure.
and then there's a waterproof version. And then both of those have the promotions going on
With the knife, the free knife.
Correct. Yeah,
Very
free
cool.
knife with every purchase.
I think that'd be a good segue into your knives.
Yeah,
So
sure.
We're looking at some knives here too.
Again, in the knife world, right? It's almost impossible today to get a patent. Everybody with a grinder in a garage is trying to come up with the holy grail.
Right.
Well, we actually came up with one with what's called the thumb bridge. Right.
Okay.
So this thumb bridge allows me to open the blade under control, and then it provides a platform for my thumb to be put into a forward position, right? So that platform allows me to push down. When I'm pushing with my thumb, right, it's pushing it into my index finger,
Right.
and then that whole thing is levering it up into the meat of my hand. So just right there, I've got an isometric grip, and it makes it very strong as I'm
Keeps your hand from sliding up on the
exactly
on the blade.
So this is we use the
It's a thumb bridge. Is what
yeah,
you're calling it.
thumb bridge, and that is a patented item that we have on there.
Okay.
It's got a liner lock, comes in a tanto point, and then also in a spear. The scales on the outside are G10 scales, and then the clip is designed so that it goes up behind the G10 scales, and then it's screwed into the actual frame of the knife, so it's not going to break away.
Gotcha.
Right. There's
What did you say? What steel this was?
it's 440.
440 steel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tanto blade.
Yeah, tanto, and it also comes in a spear. And there's smaller versions of that as well. So that's the diamond back knife.
Okay.
If you wanted a smaller one for smaller hands, typically there's a copper point or copper head, sorry. And then there's also a viper, which is a stubby blade.
Okay.
Just depending upon what you want and different different hand feels.
Gotcha.
Now the other thing with all these knives is there's an additional tool in here.
Oh, look at that.
That's built into the handle. In the law enforcement world, you're dealing with a lot of things that you don't want to touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this allows you to scrape, and each knife comes with two of these, right?
Okay.
So you can put that into use that, dispose of it if you need to, or it just tucks away back into the bottom.
Nice.
A little
So it's just a little scraping tool,
little bonus feature.
poking tool.
Whatever you need if you
Pick
don't
your
want
teeth if you. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to scrape something that you don't want to touch and then pick your teeth. Though.
Now, what material is this?
That's just a polymer plastic.
Just some kind of polymer plate.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little sharp on the
it's-
edges there,
it's-
but like you said, it's for scraping.
It's
and
more for scraping than it is cutting.
getting evidence or whatever.
Right.
And is there a certain way? No, it just
Yeah.
pops in just like that.
Pops into the base.
That's very cool. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that you could use that for.
Yeah, we're actually designing a cuff key that could work into that same configuration. We've just had some challenges getting that to stick in there properly. So,
Yeah.
but it's a nice little
I think I
additional.
just jammed it in there too far.
See,
See? Look.
just like it's like
Hey,
the laces on
so
your
my
boots.
listeners know that if you really want something tested, send it to me because I can break it. I'll find a way to break it.
That's good. Well, we can definitely do that.
I mean, I broke a Glock for God's sake, so pissed them off royally.
Well, that's good.
Very cool.
One other knife that we've created that's kind of interesting is our Rangemaster knife. So again, it uses that same thumb bridge. It's got a combo blade, so straight edge and then serrated, liner lock again. What makes this a Rangemaster knife is the range tool, right? So now I've
look
got
at
the
that.
ability to adjust my aim point sights. There's a flathead, a 6mm, a hex. So I've got all the tools that I need to adjust my optics.
Right.
Right, so that then that just folds away. There's a glass break and then also an oxygen wrench on the outside. So it's kind of it's a multi-tool, but it's really for everything that you'd need to use out on the range.
So let's go back to this thumb bridge.
Mm-hmm.
What material is that made of?
That is That's a great question.
Is it some kind of polymer as well?
Yeah, it's a stiff polymer, so it doesn't flex at all, and then that's screwed into the to the edges of edges of the blade.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and it gives you a good hand feel, and again, when you're pushing
Gives
with
you
your
a
thumb,
good way to flip it out also.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about your
the clip.
Your clips.
Yeah, so the clip is designed so that if you can see it, it goes up and behind the outer edge of the knife, and then it's screwed into the actual frame. It is reversible.
Okay, I was
so
gonna
if you
ask
want to switch that, carry the other way,
like that.
then that can be done as well.
Very nice.
And that comes in range red for range masters, but then it also comes in a black.
Okay. And this is the Range Master.
Yeah.
Is it just one size, or do you have
just one size? Just one size for this one.
Okay.
The other knife that I showed you has the multiple sizes.
And how do I? There. That's how I retract.
It's a liner lock. Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we've got a series of flashlights. There's a lot of flashlights out on the market. So
here's something that I've been doing, and my listeners know this. I've been in the process of testing out some flashlights.
Okay.
Specifically the dual fuel flashlights.
Okay.
I've been testing out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm interested in lights. Let's
yeah. So the
see what you got. I'm already liking some features I'm seeing here. We'll describe them as we talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got 6 lights total in the line, right? And we kind of started with what's the power source, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we are working on a dual fuel version.
Good.
But what we have here is just your basic
straight battery
operated. So
AA, AAA, whatever.
CR123.
CR123s. Okay.
A AA and then a AAA.
Okay.
Right. So we've got 3 different lights, and then depending upon we only use Cree LEDs, so they're the highest quality Cree LEDs, and then depending upon how much runtime and how much output that you want, do you want a single cell or do you want a double cell?
Mm-hmm.
And so just 6 lights that make it really very straightforward. They're all made out of an aircraft grade aluminum, so very strong and durable. The 2 larger ones have this additional feature of an interchangeable bezel that comes in with every light. So if you want a strike bezel, right, so you can spin that on and then lock it down.
Okay.
Or if you don't want the strike bezel on, you can just have a standard bezel.
Nice.
Right, and so that
easily interchangeable, and that comes with your lights.
Comes with it, as do batteries, right? So your first set of batteries comes built in.
Okay.
The operation on these is all real simple. So 1 push gives me the max output.
Yeah.
2 pushes is going to give me the lower output, and then I can lock that in at any point.
Okay. Have you got the strobe?
We didn't do the
1, 2,
strobe,
3?
and the reason being is that there's some issues that can be caused by having strobes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And and again, in working with officers and listening to what their needs are, they don't really use it as much as it's a kind of more of a gimmick than it is what's needed. So this is going to give you that immediate
bright light
that you're going to need,
and then 2 times will give you a little dimmer light.
Yeah, it drops it down. Right.
Nice.
So
what's the output on?
Yeah.
We're looking at the CR123 one right now.
This is the CR123 in the double battery. That's the max output. So we've got 444 lumens at that level, and then it cascades down to the AAAs getting down to 70 lumens in the single. So really just depends on what your battery source is that you want to use, and then what the output and the runtime that you want for 2 units or 2 cells or a single cell.
Gotcha.
Now the other thing that we do with all of our lights is it has a finger loop.
Okay,
right?
that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Yeah.
So it's a little bungee cord that works through the clip, and then there's a little plastic piece that runs on the outside. What this allows me to do is to operate hands-free. Right, so I can climb, I can do whatever I want, and
hook it on your finger. It's there on your hand when you need it, and then you just swing it around, and then you've got it.
Yeah, so you can flip that back in. And
now, is that an adjustable loop? Can you tighten it, loosen it?
Exactly. So I can work this back out, pull on the bungee, and then tighten it in, so it makes it for a better fit.
And the material is some sort of a rubber.
It's a plastic.
Plastic,
Yeah.
okay.
So that outer shell, because that allows you to flip it.
Yeah.
Right. Because
Keeps
if
it rigid.
if it was rubber, right, it would grab into your skin and it wouldn't flip as well. So that's
Right.
why it's a.
If you had it gloves on or something like that, this way you flip with gloves or whatever you got on.
Yeah. And allows me to to have access, go hands free, and then come back in with my light, and I've got it right there.
Yeah. And the clip is very similar to what you've got on your knives.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's removable, and each light comes with a backup in there as well, just in case you pull that out.
And I'm testing it around. I'm doing the from bright to, and it's very easy to do. Some of them you gotta,
Yeah.
really click them, but that one's.
Yeah, we want it, just
On
again,
point.
keep it simple, make it make it easy. And
What
also,
are your price points on your lights?
Yeah, the from the pen lights are $24.99, and then that goes up to the $59.99 for the two CR123s. So you've got that's for the 444 lumen output.
Okay.
Again, we're thinking about law enforcement, about public safety, and it's
And these are all fit in the palm of your hand. I mean, they're no longer than probably 4 inches.
yeah, on that one that's 4.
It's about 4 inches.
And then the CR123, you're probably around 3 or somewhere in that
yeah, a
range.
little over 3. And then the longest one you've got is the
Yeah.
medium duty light.
You're adding an extra cell,
Okay.
right? So the medium duty light is is going to be here, but you're adding an extra cell to it.
So it's probably going to be around 5-6 inches. Sort of.
Yeah.
Very good.
So there's again, I think our product line is we've got I think I showed you these backpacks.
Yeah,
before.
you guys are doing everything. So you're doing the knives, you're doing the lights, you're doing the apparel. You've got the backpacks, you've got the gun cases, you've got we got armor over here.
Yeah, well, it's a
Some-
we're partners with, or we're affiliated with Point Blank, right?
Mhm.
So in our relationship, as with Point Blank, they're the largest body armor manufacturers in the world, doing military body armor as well as law enforcement body armor. We do uniforms, right? And so when we started our design elements, we're looking at how do you match a uniform to an outer carrier.
Right.
In a lot of cases, outer carriers, they're over the 5-year life of a vest, you're going to have 2 or 3 carriers, so they never match right. And so what we did is we designed our V2 pants. I showed you our Defender pants, which are kind of the special operations. Our V2 pants are our everyday pant.
Okay.
So we looked at that and we said, okay, there's a lot of pants out there. Some of them are as much as $75 or $80 for a pair of tactical pants. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know what those cost to make, right? We made them. So, so we looked at that and we said, okay, what are the features that we need to put in there, and then how do we make that at a law enforcement price or a public safety price? So we're at $49.99 for our V2 pants.
And you sell to civilians too, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean,
So we got a lot of listeners that, yes, we have a lot of law enforcement military listeners, but we also have, just your everyday operator, like to go out and
Sure.
operate at the range or.
For sure. And
where-
that's, we've designed those products, again, just to be, mindful of, what these pants are going to go through, or what are the gear is going to go through. It's not tactical, it's tactical.
Yeah.
And it's something where we're designing these products that are going to be used and
function.
they're tools. I mean,
Yeah.
essentially that's what they are. They're tools that you have to use, and to spend, $80 on a pair of pants, to me is crazy that I'm going to go beat up. I mean, those are dress slacks. And,
Right.
I don't want to go jump fences and go through
Yeah.
the O course or whatever. I mean, I want to make sure that I've got, something that's going to be durable, functional, comfortable. But, hey, if I tear the pants, it's not going to
It'll
kill.
break the bank. Yeah, if I have to go get another pair.
So that's our core, product line.
A lot of these guys are having to buy this stuff on their own too, on their own dime.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
one
it
of the
really helps them out. That
one
you
of the
guys are bringing in at this price point, this quality.
Sure. And then one of the things that we're doing for this conference for FLEOA is that we're offering a discount code to be used on our website. And it's just
Nice.
as simple as go onto the website, pick the items that you want, and in the checkout, you just type in FLEOA, and that'll give you 25% off on any of those purchases.
Okay. FLEOA.
You're right, FLEOA. So
That's just here for the conference. So you guys don't go to the website and put that code in, because you might get a 25% discount. Is that what it is?
25% off on any purchases. And then on top of that discount, we're also going to make a contribution to FLEOA to help their organization and help fund their
Nice.
efforts.
And I'm just kidding, guys. This is available to you lead heads as well. So
for sure.
So go to their website, which is firsttactical.com,
Firsttactical.com.
and peruse the website. There's a bunch of options there. You guys are going to find something that you got to have, want to have, and use that code FLEOA, FLEOA. 25% off
25%
your entire
off.
order, and an additional.
And then we're going to give 10% to the organization to
Nice.
help fund their efforts.
So that's another way that you guys can help our buddies at FLEOA.
All right.
That's
So-
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you for offering that to our listeners as well.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to be part of this organization. I really appreciate the time. We've had some really good off mic conversations about some new design elements. And again, that's our mission is to.
And I want to talk to you because you said something about waterproof over there, and would that add to our conversation. So we'll talk about that off air too.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Very good. So guys, definitely go and show First Tactical some love. Bob, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and hopefully we can get together and maybe do some other things for the lead heads.
That
maybe do
sounds
some
good.
giveaways or something.
Yeah, we could do some lead head embroidered polos.
Oh hell yeah! I'm digging that.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That's not a problem.
All right, guys, we will be back with more from the FLEOA. What annual?
It's 25th.
25th, yeah. Here in Baltimore, Maryland.
There you go.
So that wraps up part one of our coverage of the 25th Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association's National Conference. Need you lead heads to do me a favor. Go and subscribe to FLEOA's social media pages. They just started those, and we need to show them our support. Instagram, they've got two. It's FLEOA.org, FLEOA.org, and then FLEOA Foundation. So they've got two. You guys go, give them a like there, let them know you're lead heads, and you heard them here on the Talking Lead podcast, supporting our federal law enforcement men and women. And First Tactical, really awesome of them to step up and offer that discount code. It's FLEOA, FLEOA. If you go to First Tactical's website, I mean, you guys are going to find something there that you got to have. They have a full line of tactical and just useful products with their apparel, their flashlights, their knives, their bags. They've got some really nice bags. They've just got a full line of bags there for any need that you can think of. They've got them there. So check them out. FirstTactical.com. Use the code FLEOA. You're going to get 20%. No, you're going to get 25% off, and then they're going to donate an additional 10% to FLEOA. So make sure you go use that code there. And then coming up in part two, we're going to have interviews from Medicine in Bad Places. Tony over at Medicine in Bad Places. We've got Chip with Geisley Automatics. And we've got our good buddy David with Mission First Tactical. So another line of awesome interviews coming from our trip to the FLEOA National Conference there in Maryland. And you're not going to want to miss part two either, because we've got some discount codes there that you're definitely going to want to take advantage of too. So go and support those that support the Talking Lead podcast, Modern Spartan Systems. And those codes that we've got set up with them, it's TLCP15, and that's going to get you 15% off any of their products at Modern Spartan Systems, and then they're going to donate an additional 15% to another great organization, Camp Patriot. So go Modern Spartan Systems, show them some love there. Keltec, definitely always go show them some love, show them some support for their new 22 pistol that they just released, the CP17. Give them some support on that. I know they don't need it. I mean, it's going to be a popular hit. They're going to sell 1 million of those things. So just make sure that you get to your local dealer and secure you one. You're going to want it. They're pretty cool. Then as you've been listening, you know that we've had some awesome giveaways to celebrate our 300th episode. We're at I think this is 316 right now and counting, and we've still got some awesome prizes that we're going to be giving away. But a huge thanks to Glock, X-Steel Targets, Dooley Defense, 1776 United, ASP. They've got those flashlights. ASP still has that discount code set up for you lead heads if you go to their website, aspusa.com. Any of their flashlight or flashlight accessories, if you use the code LED20, you're going to get 20% off any of those on their website. So I'm out there hitting the pavement, getting you guys awesome deals, bringing you cool prizes and giveaways. Show Talking Lead love, show our sponsors love, show the friends of the show love. And you do that by going to their website, using these discount codes, buying their products, and giving them support on the social media. You guys know better than anybody that those platforms are choking down anything dealing with Second Amendment, firearms, law enforcement, military men and women. They're choking us down. They're trying to suppress our voices, and you guys can combat that by going to Talking Lead, liking, reposting, going to our sponsors, liking, reposting their posts that they do there. That's how we're going to get our message out, is grassroots through you, the Leadhead Brigade, our listeners, our friends, our family. You've got to get out there. You've got to share this stuff because they're not letting us boost these anymore. I mean, even though we want to give them money, they're not letting us do that. And they're choking us down. So, I mean, we're reaching a small percentage of the people who have gone on and said, hey, I like your page. I'd like to get more information when you make posts. You know, our stuff only goes out to like 1% if we're lucky. So help us out, help our sponsors out, help the friends of the show out. And that's how you do it, guys. Keep tuning in every week to the Talking Lead podcast. And like I said, part 2 is coming up with these awesome interviews. And it's going to be back-to-back with this one. So be on the lookout. It's going to be posted soon. But until then, and as always, Leadheads, keep your loved ones close and your firearms closer.